city council planning workshop. And looks like everyone is here. And I don't have any citizen comment period stuff, so moving into action item A, budget workshop review and discussion of 2024-2025 proposed budget continuation.
As housekeeping, as the summary you have in front of you, this is an updated 5-year CIP. We actually then let you in and update it, so you know what you have, that's what this document is, that you have, so you have this updated one. Tonight we have this report, police department, fire department, planning, public works, and Dayton economic. So first one up, this report.
For those that don't know, Kenna, this is Kenna Nowak, she's my court administrator.
I guess I started off, how many salaries?
3.
3 full-time.
Yes.
I'm just gonna assume everything's full-time when she specifies anything's part-time. And there's no salaries that are split between departments?
No.
Okay.
No.
6105, we're not budgeting any overtime.
No.
We're just not.
Kenna's salary and the other 2 are hourly, so no, there shouldn't be. Yes. Kenna is salary and the other 2 are hourly.
We were doubling, 6,400 travel and meals. Is that due
No,
to
we're not.
training?
We're not doubling, we added $400.
Oh, total budget, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I was looking here.
And I may have asked, but none of yours comes out of this line item.
not at all, no.
Merchant fees, what does that entail?
Credit card fees, the merchant?
Is that the one where we pay and then we get reimbursed?
That's the 3% that's charged to the customer, and then she files it as a revenue. So it washes out. But we have to budget for it.
What is 6453 other services for?
That is for jury fees to pay jurors.
The leases around, I'm assuming it's from.
That is the postage machine.
Oh, okay.
And that's the PD and the court, they all use the postage machine in the court office.
So is that split between both departments?
No, it just all comes, just,
From this
yeah.
department? Okay.
So you won't see it in theirs.
So, cause I seen that last, day before yesterday, somewhere. How many of these? Wait, hang on a second. Okay, I get it. Never mind.
And the contracted services, 6411,
Judges. Judge Connor is not
an employee.
an employee,
Okay.
he's contracted.
Okay.
And then our backup judge, we budget a little bit for him as well. For when Judge Connor can't be there, we pay him as well.
Who you got back up?
Barry Graves.
Okay.
Bill.
Huh?
No. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's in maybe?
No, I meant
No,
the
Barry's-
previous.
Barry's in his 60s.
Oh, is he? Okay.
Still with him.
Sorry.
We would love that compliment.
She's saying he was the previous judge.
Yeah.
No, he was a previous, yes.
Yes, he was JP. Yeah, but
Over his now.
yeah, he's only been our associate judge.
I think he's back in Dayton.
Are we also covering the municipal court building fund as well?
I'm just gonna say, no, we have to budget something, but this is a fund, the building security fund and the technology fund that can only be used, by the court. So we kind of just budget the same amount every year, but if something happened and we needed, something out of that, then we could, utilize the whole fund.
What would cause you to use it versus not? What, like an example, why would you use this?
Why would I use it?
Why would you use the building fund?
Well, when we bought our, the thing you walk through that beeps.
The
security
Yes,
gate.
That's, we purchased that out of that fund.
Okay.
So it can only be used for certain things.
What, the travel and meals and education training, what's the difference between that and the building fund and the?
So for that, there is a certain conference that we can go to, and they specifically hold a 2-hour building security session that allows us to use that fund to be able to attend that conference.
And which, jumping back to 6401, what training are we using for that?
For that one, that is for all 3 clerks and both judges to attend their annual regional conferences that they have to attend.
Okay.
So that's for, that line item is for 5 people.
So the 6400 and 6401 is for 5 people?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how many does 6400 and 6401 on under building court, how many is that, 7 or 5?
No, that's just 2, but we just, like I said, we generally just, these numbers have just been in there. They've always budgeted something, we haven't adjusted them. So, these are not necessarily things that we always use, because they can only be used for the court. Yeah.
Yeah, because I see 22, 23, we had elected, we were 1,600, and then we budgeted 2,900 and only used $633 of it.
Mhm.
And then we're budgeting another 2,900.
Mhm.
Are we expecting to use more than 600 this year?
We may.
I'm assuming the equipment and safety, that's the metal detector.
Mhm. Yeah.
I know you mentioned this, and I just can't wrap my head around it. So you got the municipal court general fund for the 6,400, and then you have the municipal court building fund 6,400. The travel part of it,
The travel can be covered under that as well.
well, why is it under the municipal?
Because those are for different conferences. This one specifically deals with building security, so we can use it for that one. I wouldn't want to take it out of general fund
Well, I'm just saying.
when I had an option to pay for it otherwise.
4,400 and then another 2,900. I just trying to figure out.
So on the technology fund,
Same thing. Now, there's not necessarily a conference that we use that for, but if there was a conference that held, Encode conference, for instance, for software, if we wanted to attend that conference, we could use this fund to pay for it versus using our general fund.
okay. I'm gonna quote Sarah from last week. I'm not mad about it, but I see that 2022-23 travel and meals and technology fund was 1,148, and then we budgeted 200, so we were over, and then the next year was 800 with a projection of 800, and now we're still only budgeting 200. Is that, are we having a reduction in travel and things like that this year?
Like I said, it's like a placeholder, because they can only use it, the only people that can use this one is the port ladies. So this is just a placeholder to have money in there just in case they need it. Doesn't necessarily mean that she's gonna go spend it. As you can tell, she's not spending just the money nilly-willy because, you know, year-to-date activity, she hasn't spent it. It's just there for.
Well, what I'm talking about is 6,400 under the technology fund. We consistently keep budgeting $200, but we're consistently going over it by hundreds of dollars.
Yeah. But we can
So
do-
where's
So
that?
we can do a budget transfer between line items.
Okay.
What Mary's saying is why don't we raise that up instead of leaving it at 200? Go ahead and raise that amount since we always go over. So don't just put 200 if you know you can go on to 800. Go ahead and do that number up as possible. You see what I'm saying? See what I'm saying right there? Just go ahead and move it up.
We'll go.
Yeah, I would say go ahead and just put it like this, 50,
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out where the money's coming from going over it, and how we're getting from 200 to 1,100 every year. Because if we're only budgeting 200 and we're going way over that, where's the overage coming from?
She's taking it from another line item, right?
Yeah, because year-to-date activity for 22-23 is 2,741. We budgeted 6,500 and for this fiscal year. So she's not, she budgeted the same amount
I
last
don't
year.
think we're talking about the same thing. I'm
Yeah.
under technology fund.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah, I am under
And I'm
technology.
just looking at it, so- Oh, okay, okay.
It makes sense, just go ahead and do that when it makes sense.
But are you gonna decrease another line item?
We gotta make sure whatever we do, we keep it in line, so we have funds in that.
Yeah, and she's not going over 100 on that.
Are we not on the computer equipment and stuff for this, or is that not coming out of James's budget?
So,
Is that why it's only $9?
That
well,
depends.
again, if we need something that's, like, we just got scanners, desk scanners for them, we use this fund. So it did not come out of IT fund because that is specifically what this fund is for. So currently in the technology fund, we have a little over $38,000. Currently in the building security fund, we have a little over $60,000.
So Jennifer, let's start off by explaining where these funds come from.
So it's required by law to add certain fines and fees to citations. So every citation that's paid, there is a court cost that's added, and these are part of that court cost. So these all come from court fines that's required for us to collect, and it can only be used for certain things by the court or the court staff.
It's like hot money, but for tickets.
You got it.
Yes.
Exactly. That's why I thought it would be best that she explained where it's coming from, so everybody would know. It's not something that, you know.
This is not general fund.
That's right, exactly.
So where does it go if there's anything left?
It stays in that
It accrues.
fund. It's a
Oh,
special revenue fund, you can't touch it.
So they should use it for certain items.
so they have like a lot of money in there.
That's what she was giving the totals for.
Yeah, so that explains why, that explains computer hardware at 2,700, we have zero
Yeah.
a year.
So building security, we have a little over 60,000, technology fund, a little over 38,000. So generally, we don't necessarily, I don't even look at the budgeted items. It's whatever was budgeted last year, that's just what stays there. We don't use it a lot. And when we do, tell you the truth, I'm not looking at the budget, I'm looking to see, okay, how much money do I have in there, what do we need to spend? What can I use this fund to pay for it versus using the general fund? Our filing cabinets, they're fireproof with locks on them. Because of that, we can use the building and security fund to purchase those filing cabinets. So.
Yep.
Alrighty.
Police department.
We need to vote those. No questions? Thank you.
That was the easiest.
We're cutting across the board on that one.
35, we already did that for you. 35%.
I know.
Good answer.
I know.
Save you some time. First question, how many challenges do we have? We have 20 commissioned officers, 1 admin, 5 full-time dispatch, 2 part-time dispatch, 2 ATOs, so 28.
So,
FTE? And they're all full-time. They have 2 part-time dispatchers.
I'm sorry, one more time on all the, how many employees you have?
Okay.
26 full-time and 28 and 2 part-time?
20 commissioned officers.
No,
Okay.
26 full-time
Yes.
and 2 part-time.
No. Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Sorry. I'm having to listen and read my notes. Yes.
Then stop talking.
20 commissions, and then go from there.
Yes. 26 full-time employees and 2 part-time employees.
But of those 26,
Of the whole
20 those are off.
Of the whole 28.
I mean, I missed that, because you're way down there.
So,
Yeah.
26 officers are full-time employees,
Okay.
2 part-time dispatchers, and then there's also 2 ACOs. So total in our whole department is 28.
Okay.
What's the matter?
Hey,
Why is your math not there?
with the wages,
Yes, sir.
is that accounted for a projection of hiring some more people?
So what we did was we tried to figure out a way to hire 2 full-time officers and 3 full-time dispatchers. It was just gonna be too much money, we don't have the funds to do that. So what we did, we cut it back to 2 full-time officers and 1 full-time dispatcher. Okay, so 2 officers, 1 dispatcher, and that 1 dispatcher will allow us to have now 6 dispatchers and 2 part-time. So that will give us an opportunity to have a day shift person, a night shift person, and a person working a split. So our busiest times during the day are from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. And that we will have 2 people there during that time. Also, my admin assistant, Jackie, has now obtained her dispatch license, and she is there during the day also, is able to help out, and has actually been up there a lot helping out, so.
All right, with that said, going back to the salary and wages, is that the 20 plus whatever you have right now, including 2 more in the dispatcher?
Leslie?
Yes.
Thank you.
I budgeted for 2 officers and 1 dispatcher, and they're 3%.
That, you're saying for the projected for this coming year?
Yes.
Yes.
That is 2 officers, 1 dispatcher. And a 3% step. Those motorcycle cups.
No.
It's gonna turn to the back page, it looks like this.
We knew you could ask that question.
I got to.
What is with you and these lines?
You trying to get out, you trying to get the question.
I wanna. He wants me and Shane to be in the sidecar.
That's right,
Oh.
exactly. Patrolling on 90.
This ain't chips.
Thank you.
Last year you guys spent almost, well, just over 15,000 on uniforms. Are y'all not buying that many this year?
No, sir. We bought some outer carrier vests last year, so it was, and then replaced some bulletproof vests that expire every 5 years. So we ended up spending a little bit more this last year. We won't have to do that because they are good for 5 years. So typically we'll just figure like one set of uniforms per officer. Because they usually last a pretty good time, and I'm pretty hard on not letting them buy anything unless they can bring me a damaged uniform in there first.
Did we get the grant for the bulletproof vest yet?
We get reimbursed half.
Okay.
Yeah.
Vehicles,
That's what I was just looking at.
Which one?
well, it's flatline, and I know that you probably need vehicles. That would be 6609.
Yes.
Which one, 6609?
Yeah.
Okay. So last year, we bought 2 vehicles. We just honestly don't have the money to buy 2 vehicles this year, but we did put in for a grant. I'm still waiting to hear back from that. If we get that grant, then that will buy us 2 vehicles this year. I won't know probably for another couple of months if we got that grant or not.
Is it a matching funds grant?
No,
Okay.
no, it's 100% funded, so if we do get it, we'll be buying 2 with that one.
So what do you do, because I know you got those old Fords that you're trying to eliminate.
Run them in the ground.
Wheels fall off.
Okay,
Or do they fall off?
okay.
Councilman, we replaced a lot of the older Fords. So the ones that we left in service are still usable right now. We are running them, pretty hard, but we're gonna run them until we can't run them anymore.
So do y'all have a way to resell those vehicles?
Typically, by the time we get done with them, we take everything that's usable off there. So like, in other words, we have a sale coming up this summer, sometime this summer, right, Keith? It's a surplus sale, and we'll put those vehicles in there. Most of them don't bring much. A couple of them are actually wrecked. So they're probably, run them across the scale, you get that money for an auction. But we salvage anything that's usable off of them, leave it at the shop so we can use those parts on something else breaks.
Cannibalize them.
Yes.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, they're at the shop over there. If you want to look at them, there's not much left. We even pull a good tires off of them.
So I take that RDM vehicle, y'all moved all that over to, Ron's line item? I mean, you did it last year, but I mean, it stayed that way?
6453 other services.
That is a jail bill. So we get billed from the County Sheriff's Office for housing any Class C inmates that they do take over there, which is not very often. But every once in a while, we'll have somebody with higher charges, like say a Class B misdemeanor or above. It also has Class C, and they'll charge us $50 a day for them to lay out that fine. We really cut it because we're not spending that much out of it, but I don't really know what could change this year. They might start housing some inmates so I did cut it from 8 to 5.
Liberty may start building a new jail.
Well, I hope they do. Y'all may know the answer to that.
It ain't looking good, I can tell you.
Not looking good.
The other services.
And then other professional services, just training.
That's be like drug screens and physicals for new hires, psych evals if they have a lapse in service or they just got out of the academy, they have to have a psych eval for come to work.
So that would be a different background check than what Tammy had in her budget last night?
Yes.
And then safety equipment in 6612. Or not?
That's a cap line. We haven't had anything in there in the last couple of years.
That was the, vehicle that we had in the bond.
Oh, okay. All right. Animal control, how many salaries are under animal control?
Two. Might want to simplify this, two.
Two.
That's it. Two animals.
That's two, two, What's the other?
And we're not looking to take on any more animal control officers?
Those are not right now.
Okay. Um, 6348, other supplies, I'm assuming that's,
That would be dog food, carbo test, sedation, any kind of medical stuff they have out there.
I see on 6401 education and training went up on the budget on that one.
So, I'm sorry, did you say it went up?
Yes.
Oh, yes, it did, I saw, sorry, I couldn't read it. Yes, they were not able to locate a class this year, they were trying to get something local and couldn't get one. Would think that the ones, their classes are always a long way away. So it's usually like, like, what was the one that had to go to, like, South Texas or something?
There was one in Far, Texas, and the other ones are located in Dallas. Typically, we try to host enough people here, we'll get a few free slots out of the class, but their instructor that we normally go to for that canceled, so we're gonna have to send them somewhere else to take it this year.
and that would be the reason for the increase in crowd.
Yeah, I just don't know, if they have to go further.
And their trucks and vehicles are okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 6512 other. It doesn't look like we have anything in there. I guess we're moving stuff out of there.
So what that was, it apparently had always been in there, so repairs and maintenance. They really moved that over to Leslie and I think we and Kim sat down and talked about this. We didn't ever really end up using it, so I think they moved that over to facility maintenance, isn't that right, Leslie?
The last one, 6512.
We moved it to contracted services, just in case we, need it for the animal shelter.
Where did you move it?
To contracted services, see how it's.
Oh, you moved $1,000.
Yeah, I moved it from there to contracted services, just in case we use it for the animal shelter,
Okay, well, because I was under the impression that that was for, so part of the pound inspection comes out of there too, so that we're for that.
You never visited years, previous years, we didn't have anything in it on it.
Because I don't think they were charging.
We used a different veterinary service, Dr. Hall, can't go out and do that. So we had to move to a different vet, and different vets charge for it a lot.
I still think we'll be okay.
it's fine, I can
Yeah.
put it back.
I think we're okay.
All right. Yeah, I think we're good.
Good.
Fire department.
Mr. Gore.
Usually do, they can do a lot of reduction in their budget.
3.5 million because you work full time.
Do we have one?
That's a 3.5 million because you work full time.
Right. You know what, John, let me tell you something, we did something in here you doesn't see. And I was going down just so we could talk about what we did in 6411. If you notice in 6411, we put 25,000 in that. What we're trying to do with that 25,000 is to motivate our volunteers to come in. I've been speaking with them because at times, especially when they work, shift work, sometimes it's difficult to get enough firemen here to put out a fire. That's what we've had police assist on occasion, to pay them when they come in for a call. What was that dollar amount? Was $10? They said that's the normal rate, that most volunteer departments pay. And they said it actually worked in getting people to come in on a call. So you would pay them $10 a call.
The increase on 6353. Is this a,
That's the SCBA model, the airpack model.
this is something that's not gonna happen every year or what?
We have several that's gonna be expired, just to be able to.
A one-time, okay.
That's SCBA's.
Yes, sir. The SCBA model is going airpack.
So the increase was 6.
The last time we purchased any was in 2020.
Okay. How long are they good for before they expire?
It is 10 years.
They'll have another group.
Will this cover replacement?
2028.
Oh, okay, so
They're tiered,
It's about half.
It's about half.
okay.
ballpark, how many bottles are you replacing?
We,
Right now,
27, 25.
25.
We have 43 bottles total.
So with the mascot for the SCBA models, do each one of your volunteers have their own, or are they sharing?
They're sharing that in all the trucks.
How many volunteers you have?
32.
6611. Did we move that somewhere?
That's,
Machinery and heavy equipment?
yeah, but,
What's that?
They got a trailer last year.
the 6454 other professional services, what does that cover?
What's the number?
6454?
Let's see, it covers the chief's monthly pay, air compressor checks, our annual pump tests, annual air test for our ladder trucks, the inspections of for our jaws and spreader equipment, and hose testing.
On your volunteer, do we pay for their certifications, or is there any kind of training and things that they need to go through that we take care of?
Yes, there's few that we do, like our annual deal over here at Fire School and Livingston, that we pay for
The fire department.
The fire department, not the city.
And that's covered under 6401?
No, they got their own line item.
Oh,
So what is our 6401, the education training that the city pays for?
That's probably, for the school, to go and the school.
Oh, that's the fire prevention.
Fire prevention.
Is for the school.
Yes,
The school.
and fire prevention.
The fire prevention is It's about a week home.
No, they pay for that themselves.
Oh, so it's not in the budget, okay. So, is there the 6313? We have a reduction, or is there some equipment that we're not buying this year that we don't have to, or?
No, this is, communication.
6313, we had in there so far is radio mic, 3475, we got 475 for radio mics.
Yeah, I'm saying it went down from last year, so is there something we're not purchasing this year that we purchased in the past?
I think y'all got a bunch of new.
We got a bunch of new radios. so-
Okay, okay, okay. Mr. Davis.
Yes, sir.
Are you hiring somebody?
I would love to.
I see an increase in salaries and wages.
That increase is going from, talking about 390 to 402.
Yeah.
I believe that's,
3%.
Oh, that's right. I forgot all about that.
How many
How many
employees do you have?
employees?
I was doing math and I didn't.
Six.
Including yourself?
yes. 6.
Yeah. I was kind of putting the 2%. I was doing my calculations. Thanks.
6116, other pay?
Yes, so that is going to be, phone allowances, auto allowances, those types of things. What's it for?
I'm assuming that the line item 6312 for the filing fees is increased because of the increase in development coming through your department?
That is correct. So we are required to actually file with the county the flats for development, so each individual lot or each development flats a lot. So as that comes in, we have to pay part of it.
And do, Leslie, do they pay us that would come back in as revenue on that?
Yes, and yeah, that's recorded in the revenue,
Yes.
in the general fund, yes.
Okay.
But anything that I have to file too comes out of this line item.
Okay.
What about 6348? There's a significant increase. What is that for?
It is for the, so as you know, we started doing Friday night lights in a significant fashion. We're going to purchase barricades for that currently we're renting them. So we're going to ask to increase the budget line item so we can actually buy them.
So it's cheaper, it's gonna, okay.
And we'll use those for more than just Friday Night Light.
Yeah.
Oh,
For off-road.
I know we were talking about the one from TxDOT that we were able to get.
Thank you. Oh, that's a good thing.
Those are gonna be permanent ones.
Isn't that permanent? Because you want to-
No, I'm talking about the one where we were digging, when we dig the hole.
That's different type.
Oh, okay.
I was thinking permanent ones.
Which one is it, whenever we do things, we have to rent them because by law, you're required to have the area fenced out when we do certain things. And we always lease them. And it costs quite a bit for lease. Like when we do like.
400,
64.
Is that part of the TML stuff?
Which one?
For the APA conferences, for myself, Ms. Tammy, for also.
The ACH?
American Planning Association.
Oh,
Yeah,
APA.
Yeah.
And that's you and who else?
Me and 2 others.
And 6411,
So it's contract services, this is the line item that we use for, demolition.
demolition.
Demolition for the house. So as you know, we can, before you officer ask for permission to tear down the house. They're estimating about $12,500 per house at this point. We haven't had to use the funds, so that seems to be a great motivator for people to actually do it themselves.
Yeah.
We reckon that we're going to do this. We would like to do that one, as Greg said.
Chris,
Yes.
Is that no?
you also use these funds when you have to go do a cleanup?
Oh, yes, so in the case we need to abate a property, we need to cut grass, we also can use this funds for that.
So with, all the development and it's a lot of stuff in town, do you foresee this being enough to cover, such situations with, like, you have to go and clean somebody's property because you get complaints or whatever comes up under there?
We haven't, we're probably gonna push up against it more, we're starting to get more active with, identification of substandard structures. So that line item could go up, but we'll monitor it and we'll try not to blow it, but we're gonna actually get into compliance for sure. We always wanna keep that.
6414, I see in 2022, 2023, it was 57,800, and then we jumped from that to budgeting 125.
Yes. That's partly because of the number of projects that are coming in. So the more, and currently we're only using our engineering team for, the drainage review.
I'm sorry, I can barely hear you.
We're only using our, engineering team for reviews for drainage.
Okay.
However, as the projects get more and more complicated, they're going to be beyond the scope of what staff can do, so we're going to ask them to take on more, because we don't have an engineer on staff to.
Do we think, I
We
mean,
get reimbursed for that.
okay.
What we do is we have a fee built in for whenever we do any type of sewer review. It's a fee that they have to pay in advance. And if they go over the amount that is paid through the application, we invoice them. They are responsible for paying that additional cost. So sometimes you can get someone in and to do a review, they go in and comply. Sometimes it takes 3 times in order for them to get it right. Whenever their engineer is not paying attention to the code to get it right, then we make them pay that money because it's too much to put on, citizens that have to pay for a development engineer who's not compliant.
Is that 6414?
That's
Yes.
yes, it is.
Let me ask you, what's only 9514
Because that's all we had to pay so far.
so far?
Yes.
Do we foresee using 100,000 between now and December?
They said they looked at it and think they may spend it. It's based on how many drawings we get in. We do know we met with the Freedom Trail development. That's a very large development. We will have to review that if they get it in time. So I hate to say yes, we will or we won't. It's just based on the middle.
The 6407 dues, fees, and subscriptions. Does this include the subscription service that we had for the drawing thing?
The drawing,
The mapping?
the GIS system. Is that contract service or is it coming out of your subscription? This is gonna be for, where we utilize Indian Keys to do updates for our GIS mapping for your Unified Development Code.
That's part of the subscriptions.
It is.
And we also use, for our memberships, our licenses and our memberships.
Just for like the HA membership for your code enforcement officer license, that comes out of that as well.
I heard you say something about Friday night fights. Is that one of those line items here?
No, it's not a line item specific, this, we were referencing the other supplies,
Uh-huh.
6348, why did it increase so much? That's because of the fencing that we're purchasing for the crossroads and for other.
What about the regular Friday food truck? Is that in this thing too?
No,
No.
we don't have no expenditure.
No expenditures?
Yeah.
Can, I guess, maybe to tag your question, can you use those fences for the, huh?
Pretty much everything.
Okay, so you can use them for more than just Friday Night Lights?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
That's what you're saying, they're gonna use it for the spirit of Christmas.
Oh,
everything.
okay.
Yeah.
6458 leases and rentals.
These are rentals, we have a plotter, which gives us a chance to print out big documents.
Big plotter?
Yeah, and that's just the least cost for that particular item.
Okay. What's the difference between that and 6540 and 6541?
Well,
The
Are we just not using those anymore?
Yeah, we're not obsolete.
Okay.
You good, ladies?
Very good.
Oh, we on the public work, yeah.
Thank y'all for coming. If we're done,
You wish.
yeah.
How many,
Employees.
yeah,
21.
21.
We on food rate.
yeah, I was like,
I'm like, that is not 21 employees.
How many employees you have in food rate?
Up to.
okay.
I thought she said, oh, I'm sorry.
You're like me.
They want specifically,
like-
how many employees do you have?
How many mechanics you got? They're working for pennies if there's 21 employees out there.
Okay.
Other pay, I'm assuming that's probably overtime for 6116.
No, overtime is, 6105.
Oh.
So do you know what the other pay is?
Phones and
Okay. Okay.
is that phones for two? For the two?
Do you want to put it on return?
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. You gotta do.
Big jump in uniforms.
Yeah.
We're actually gonna get rid of uniforms. We've had so much problems with rental. We can't get them to bring their uniform back. We can't get new ones. So it's just been a disaster. So
Always have.
it always has. And we've used, like, this is the fifth company we've tried. And we're trying to get out of contracts so we can just buy shirts and the use.
We actually have a legal team working on getting us out of the contract and things like that.
So this 2,300 is for shirts?
We used to do just shirts and you will get on, for your own jeans. So we're gonna go back to that, and buy shirts.
And 6459 got reduced, if you see, there's nothing there for next, for preliminary. That 2,000 up to for purchase.
Okay. Those are not being rented anymore.
Yeah.
Can you move it up to 63?
my math correct that the salaries are an increase of 6.5%?
Or are we adding? employee?
Which numbers, Collins, are you, your projections?
The 119, yes, the projected versus the preliminary.
No, we actually, we can't go off of projections because projections, we have a lot of stuff going on. Like, for example, we take into consideration if an employee is, out or, like, what was it?
Yes.
We had an open position
Yes, we do.
for 5.5 months. So projections, she has that in projections where we have the savings, that's why it's 123 to 119.
So you have to look at 23, 24 versus 24, 25.
And it's still gonna,
The
and it's
total,
still
right?
not, but it's still not gonna
Right.
be
Total budget
3%
versus
because we
the
get
preliminary
everybody's
budget.
salary, hourly
Okay.
rate, and then we do times the 3%, and then that's what it
Becomes
is.
true.
So, some of them are gonna be a little bit, yeah, because of the way, these are numbers are gonna be kind of off, but if we have a spreadsheet where you have your column of like what everybody gets paid hourly times the 3%, and then it drops out that number, and then that's what we budget for the new preliminary budget.
And I'm assuming, 6340, that's covering the fuel costs for the whole city? Okay. Because we've moved everything out into that fund, okay.
$6508 R&M vehicles, what's the,
That's the aging police cars and fire trucks. It's increasing. The repairs on,
okay?
and a lot of our equipment's aging, it's just costing more.
And what about the repairs and maintenance other on 6512? If it's not equipment, it's not vehicles, what are we repairing?
That's, we have a list, so that the vehicles, that's storage, inspected, that's for businesses to look at.
So I'll ask you the same thing I asked Derek, your vehicles today are okay with them? You're okay with your vehicles today?
Are we okay with vehicles?
With your vehicles that you have?
Yeah.
No. I have a lot of aging vehicles.
They make do because they
We
raise.
do, we keep parking them together and keep open, that's what we do. Yes, we are requesting 2 new vehicles, but I need more than that, but that's. what we're doing.
6510. Where did we move, where did we create that from that moved, that there was zero activity in 22?
We're at in here, you asking for vehicles.
It's-
Is that a separate page?
yeah.
Okay. Right, it's not a-
Yeah, it's not under fleet maintenance.
Okay, streets and drainage in this, fleet maintenance, none of that are shared salaries, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so number of employees in streets and drainage?
Yeah, and hold on one second.
Okay.
We're still on something with the.
Okay.
What was your question again?
6510,
Uh-huh.
R&M heavy equipment, there was 0 activity in 22-23. And then 23, last year we put in 15,000. What, why was it $0 during 22-23? Was it moved from personnel?
So a lot of things were cut back from public works budget. And last year when we came back and we started putting money back in their budget. Is that right, April?
Yes, that line is actually just to repair the generators.
Okay, so we didn't repair them last year because we had no money there. Okay.
Okay,
Sorry.
Yeah, no.
are we ready to do the drainage?
Yes. All right.
How many rooms?
7.
Street
Seven.
drainage of 7
Yes.
boards?
7.
Okay.
I see the increase on 6318, machinery, tools, and equipment, from 9,500 to 16,300.
That's another new, mosquito park. Ours is aging, and we live by.
6318.
I will say thank you for the logger that you have been using since all the warning that you got. It's been helping.
And we did save 10,000 on street signs.
I did see that. I just assumed we weren't purchasing as many this year because we caught up on some of them. Yeah. Back to the word and
So the education and training, it went up. Is that for, what was that?
What it is, correct me if I'm wrong, Mark, we're talking about education and
education
training.
training.
64.
This is where we have to go and they get training for a certain license, the water, what is this?
Oil streets, right?
Yeah, what line is the license?
6401.
It's for certification for guys that are flag, to be certified in flag,
I was okay.
and CDO.
So,
You heard it? For CDL and for, flagging certification.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna back up a little bit. 6348, other supplies. What does that entail?
So that's gonna be, signs, portable signs for us to put out for traffic when we're working on roads, things like that. Cones, barricades, things like that.
Murphy, did you put in here for getting a new shoring device?
That's gonna be in waters too.
Okay. Okay.
so are we doing the same thing? So I guess the blanket question, I was actually fixing to ask that.
Same thing.
Blanket question, we're gonna do the same thing with the uniforms where we're just going to shirts and their own pants.
That is correct.
Okay.
6453, other services. I see an increase of $3,000 on that line item. What does that cover?
You mean 6411?
That's to do more striping,
I'm sorry, say that.
to do more striping on some roads. A lot of residents come to me that really want the brown road striped with the school traffic, people are coming over in lanes, so we didn't have it, budgeted to do brown roads, so.
But now it is?
Not yet, not yet. I didn't have the funds, I don't have the funds this year.
It's built in here though.
So that's 6453?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, what is the contracted services at 6411? I noticed there was a,
It's like our to-cut trees.
pardon?
So, root trees and things in.
Oh, tree cut services?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
What did I just? Okay, 6316, and then you have 6501 listed as traffic, oh, that's traffic signal, right? Or is that traffic
No, it's
sign?
not repair and
We don't have
maintenance.
to.
No, I know, I'm talking about 6501.
It's repair and maintenance.
For traffic signal.
It does say that.
It says repair and maintenance
Oh,
for
that's
traffic
There's
signal.
differences. The difference is one's buying the signs and one is buying the equipment, the poles, the brackets, things like that.
Okay. Okay.
The sign is not signal, I believe.
Yeah,
That's what it is.
but it looks like an A there if it was. Okay, down to Parks and Recreation. 6458, $10,000 that wasn't there before.
So this is, we increased this, we had put some new lighting out there at the park about 5 years ago. We already, and at Daniels Park, and there's a lot of it out. Now, it's under warranty, but we don't know is, are they just wanting the lights, are they wanting the work? We don't know if we're going to rent a lift to do it ourselves. Are they going to supply us the lights? We just don't know.
So, sorry, these are ones at Daniel Park? This is at the base, where they play baseball, not for the other area? Okay. Sorry about that, Marcy, I just, I'm fast forwarding.
6348, we went from 3,200 in 23 to, 37,000 for other supplies.
So we took our bank shot stuff out of that one. The funds are allocated that we had donated in a different account, but we had to take it out of this account. So we do have those funds, it's just sitting somewhere else. We didn't really.
So that 6348 is just bank shot?
The difference in the 2,937 is.
Oh. And then what is the 6512 other, repair and maintenance other, is that just new park repairs? Okay. Seems like replacing basketball nets and
Goals.
goals and, okay.
Repainting over graffiti.
We just got this quote out. I know he just showed me the quote today.
Okay,
On what now, I'm sorry?
For lights at Henderson.
so you got the quote?
Yes, I have the quote. Now, this is for a company to do it, right? I mean, we can do this in-house. It may take us long. It depends on the council. To put some lighting at Little Street Park is going to be around 25 to 30.
That's not in this.
That's not in the motion. I just got this back to that.
Can you just, I know you probably don't have the numbers, but can you just speculate on the number of lights and things you're putting out there?
Or it's gonna be 5 poles.
No, I know, but what the electricity cost is gonna be?
Oh, no, sir, I think it's LED, it's not gonna be a whole lot. It's probably like a minimum, it's probably gonna be around $100 a month or less.
Okay.
So is it LED at the Henderson Park as well?
Yes, ma'am.
So, okay.
Okay, facility maintenance, salary and wages, how many employees?
4. 4. Lorana.
Lorana.
Yeah.
That's right. That's on.
So are we on the wages or nothing, and we're doing the same? Is it the budget is 74,000, or 174, but the projections is 138. Are we getting the same in there?
Yes, we do, the vacancy from, what is the new person?
Just a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
Okay. $63,18, we went from 9,000 to 15,000, which is now we're at 18,000, which isn't much, but how did we go from 19,000? Or, I'm sorry, from 9,000. I hear you over there.
To 18.
18. You were like, I'm getting my numbers mixed up.
I got this one here.
Okay, 6318. In 2023, 22, 23, we were at 9,000. Then we went to 15,000, and then now we're at 8,000 or 18,000. I'm not sure who I'm asking.
Fiscal year that everything got cut.
Okay.
So a lot of things from Public Works got cut, and now we're, putting it back.
And what are we purchasing? Is that just like miscellaneous tools and lawnmower? Okay.
All right, I want to go back. Y'all may have saw it, I can't hear, I'm trying to look at some of this stuff while y'all are talking. We started at 94 on the salary and wages on the facility maintenance. And we're at 172 now. Did we just hire more employees? Is that why it jumped so much?
No, they had half a year, they had a vacancy. That's why the projections are so low. They filled that position.
2 vacancies or 1?
He's talking about
You're
from
talking
year
about
before.
22,
Right, I know, I'm just saying it jumped so much, but even at that, projected 174, then it was only 100. And now back to 172, that's why I wondered.
Yeah, we only had 3.
3 for most, for the majority of the time?
Yeah. Our facility maintenance, staff include our custodian that comes to clean up the facility.
Okay. And that's in this group?
Yes.
And they're all full-time? Are y'all fully staffed now?
Do they, is this facility included in the cleaning supplies?
Oh, yes, the
In the
cleaning
supplies.
supplies, yes.
Yeah, in the cleaning supplies. That's a big number for bleach.
That's actually the cleaning supplies for the whole city.
City, yeah. Okay, fair enough.
It is facility control.
Got you with that. And the electric bill is for the whole city? Yes.
So license, registrations, and inspector, that cost increased a lot.
That's
Was
community center, PD, fire, all that, is that?
6406.
That's gonna be our AC. So we went out, 5 years ago and got new AC controls for all facilities to try to lower the energy bill. Their fees for the licensing online, controls, they were paid for 5 years, but now we've got to take them fees over and throw a can for ourselves.
Is it worth it?
Yes, sir.
And did the big savings for the LED lights that they supposedly installed years ago, they didn't really prove anything? Did we get that savings, or? That would probably more you to know.
Well, we would have to study the
Because they promised all these big gains, which, I mean, it should because it's LED, but I'm just,
Well, I can tell you, if we had thermostats everywhere for everybody to touch, I think we'd be hardly.
oh, I can believe it.
What about 6502? What equipment was this? What equipment was purchased, or will be purchased next year? 6502,
Repair
6502.
and maintenance.
Oh, that's repair and maintenance.
Okay, got it.
So that is AC repairs to the PD and fire mostly. I mean, it's the whole city, but, mostly PD and fire.
Okay. And like the call of the police department?
It's not sized, and correct me, Murphy, but I don't believe it was sized, correctly.
Well, it's not what was sized correctly, it's, the AC that was installed there is designed for up north with low humidity. I'll be frank, which is junk. And we're going to, one day, we're going to eat the cost of put a new AC system in both of them.
We're talking about higher heat.
We live in Marvel.
It's junk.
I know when we were doing the Citizens Police Academy, we walked outside and we could smell the smell of electrical fire that was coming from one of them that had recently been repaired.
I can't keep track of my baseball.
Yeah, the humidity over 72%.
It's crazy. We fight the buildings. I mean, every week we have somebody working, and we can't work on them. You have to have special laptops to work on these things. So
So how much does it cost to replace it?
we got a ballpark figure. We have a ballpark figure to change it at the fire station, because that's the one right now that's to keep us alive. It's ballpark $150,000.
And how long would that last?
Well, it would be
Based on the-
a
based on the
whole
one that
different
you're
AC
talking-
system.
Yeah, based on
You
the
would have a
system that's
warranty.
designed for the south down here where it's.
Yeah,
hot.
so as long as it's maintained and cleaned properly, you should get 10 years, 15 years out of the AC system.
Would it be something that you could work on?
Yes.
Okay.
So,
Who installed this terrible machine?
And
And where do they live?
Built the building. I warned the city staff, I warned the
Right.
council prior to building this, and I told them, don't put this in, and I told them that this is my
When they
business.
were building.
I believe it.
Murphy, do you take accounts for City Hall?
Not yet, no, we still find City Hall, the upstairs.
We have a,
We're finding humidity, so we're trying to figure out that one.
Portable.
yeah.
Right now, we have a portable unit to try to keep the humidity down upstairs.
It's creating mold.
what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what, okay, so what would it cost to, fix that at the city hall where there's mold?
I don't
You
have
have
that, I don't have that
yes.
number right now.
Okay.
One at a time, one at a time.
Right?
Did you hear her? Did you see the problem I'm having? I'm letting y'all know, we do have some, like, Murphy, you haven't scheduled yet.
Monday.
Monday, to take the building for mode, because I'm getting complaints from staff. So they will be out Monday to test the building for mode. If it so happens to be mode, we may have to move out of there. I'm trying not to get them excited, because y'all don't know what I go through, trying to calm staff down.
Well, mold, I take mold very seriously. I know we're in the science. So that was gonna be my next question. If there is mold present, because it's a lot of bodies that be in that, you know.
Yes,
And so, do y'all have a contingency plan?
I do have one.
Okay.
That plan would be we take up this community center. We
Okay.
did it in Baytown when we had that problem, and we moved
At least
there.
you get to
Did we have those
research.
offices, on the side, are they available that were, DC used to be?
Yeah.
I think Blacker Energy used to use.
Yeah.
We got some on the other side, and we got some on the other side. On the other side.
Yeah, open house. Yeah, like what the yeah, it's not really big. You know.
How are we on, facility maintenance? Well, I'm asking if we're ready to move on, because I want to take a short break.
Right now?
Everybody ready?
Are y'all good for facility maintenance?
No more questions?
No, I'm good.
John? Y'all good? All right, 7:17, we're gonna take a 5-minute break. right. I think we're ready to move on to water and sewer. And how many employees we have under water and sewer?
12.
12.
And that includes me in April.
Are there any in public works overall, are there any employees whose salaries get split between different parts of public works? Okay.
Have y'all added employees in this?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
I got shut the
So
door.
we had two.
2 employees. So you had 10, now you're at 2.
So we're adding 2 in this next year's budget.
We currently have 12.
Okay.
Yeah, the numbers.
Today.
Today you have 12, so you're adding 2 more. What that mean?
So 25 would be 14. Did I understand that correctly?
The 7,030, just to be clear, the 7,036 includes the 12 they have now plus the 2 that they're wanting to add, correct? Okay, yeah. So it would be, the preliminary budget would be a total of 14 employees.
The way this is done, it's hard to determine what is raises basically versus what is new hires. That's why we asked them, trying to figure out.
So what is the range, versus employee? What is on the bill?
$63.45 chemical supplies. What's the difference between that and what was it? It's called chemical supplies there too.
So this would be, I think, like for the chemicals for the wastewater treatment plant?
No, I understand what they are all for. I'm just wondering, are we doing, I guess, because they're big numbers, and I know it's for citywide, and in every category, it's pretty large numbers. Are we doing ourselves, because I guess the question boils down to how we're purchasing it, and are we using a specific vendor? If not, is it possible that we use a specific vendor to consolidate and get those prices down?
So this is, coordinated mostly for.
Okay.
90% of this is chemicals for the sewer plant. It's chlorine for water wells, it's for a lot of it, sewer disinfected, grease control for lift stations. There's a lot.
I understand that. I'm wondering if our due diligence says that we need to look at all of it in one big bucket and then see what everybody's doing and try to consolidate to lower that cost if possible. It may not even be possible.
We can definitely look at that and see if that's an option. I don't know if I can find a company that would distribute
Everything that you need.
everything that we used to do.
Okay.
6317. We went from 80,000 in 2023 to 180,000, down to 7,500.
Oh, that's the meters.
That's the meters.
Okay.
So it's different.
Obviously, those meters were moved over to another line.
Yeah.
So-
Yes.
Put that at the bottom.
Yeah, we sit down about that.
Yeah.
So that was moved to another department. What's the 7,500 left for?
500.
500? Okay. Does this include paint and purple?
We buy them for now.
Oh, got it.
I'm just picking.
Do you really? Do you really buy them purple?
Yes, ma'am. Because paint them, you can see the paint coming off them, how tacky they look.
Is it more expensive than a red one?
I mean, the council voted to make them purple, that's what we do.
Can we vote again?
I would love for them to
You want
be
to
red.
read?
That's not me.
What color is the fire hydrant? If you look at any children's book, a fire hydrant is red.
I would prefer red, but the last council changed it to one.
Can we put that on the agenda?
Honestly, I think safety-wise, red would be easier to see.
Can we get names of who voted?
You can change it.
Can't do it today, but
But definitely.
I didn't vote for that. I don't even remember.
One meeting, what you got, Murphy?
Just want to keep in mind, if that's something you are considering, I'll go back to red. I really
replace
don't
the bunch.
like, because I have developers that we require them to put number one in.
I like that.
So if we're going to change that, I need to know that pretty rapidly, to change our design standards. Okay.
That was like 17, I wasn't on here.
Okay.
We don't care about safety, we like things pretty.
I did not
There.
say that.
So we changing the signs?
I did not say that.
Green.
Okay, fine specimen
It
of
truly
red.
started off as a Cub Scout or Boy Scout project,
It was?
and that's how it
Boy
started.
Scout project.
Okay.
I remember that. I got it.
So are they not maintaining?
They are.
Okay, I have a question.
Okay.
We have 6340 fuel. Why is that not with the other fuel for the whole city?
Because I split it between, general fund and water sewer, because water sewer needs to pay
Okay,
for some stuff.
that makes sense. Okay.
Hey, real quick, going back to that fire hydrant, we don't have to make a vote on it, that's not a voting thing, but if we just let the city manager make a decision what color it should be, I mean, I don't know, it's something I can think about.
I think we just leave it the way it is.
Purple?
Leave it the way it is, purple and white. Because at the same time, they also did the street signs, purple and white, and moving away from green, remember? Uh,
6348, other supplies. We've got it budgeted for 10,000, but we've only used 1,500, and we're budgeting again for 10,000.
Projection to stop finishing at 6,000?
Just want to know what it is.
No, well, what it is, but why are we still budgeting for 10,000 when we've only used 1,500 and are only projected to use 6,000?
So we haven't had to buy any this year, battery backups for all our lift stations so far. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. When they die, we have to have them. And, the heat sometimes kills them, so we haven't really got really hot yet, so it's a possibility that we'll be replacing them before the summer.
Is that all that comes out of that?
Oh, no. I mean, line taking supplies, lab supplies, lift station supplies, test kits.
So a lot come out of that.
This one.
Employee relations, same, Leslie, splitting it between,
No, that's just the water.
Okay.
Murphy and April.
6405, we're back with electric again, is that? what is
Yeah,
that?
we split it between general fund and water sewer.
Okay. So the total city budget is the 373,000 plus the other?
Yes.
Okay, What does that use mostly at the sewer plant?
What's that?
That electric?
You got the lift station, water wells, sewer plant,
They're like street lights and stuff too.
City.
What about buildings? Every city building?
Not just the different, we have it listed on facility maintenance as well.
Yeah, so we break it down based on like location and stuff. And on time and water sewer. So like of course the water wells and lift stations and all that, we'll get out of electricity out of here. But then like city hall is gonna obviously be general fund.
Can you get a list of those?
Yes.
6408, landfill and disposal. I see it's here, and then it's also under fleet maintenance.
so this one here is sludge hauling. It's the sewer plant.
Sludge.
It's
Okay.
small, we could,
Okay.
And we used Frontier Waste contracted for this. It's a nice word for it.
I may have it in my backyard. Go with you. Lab testing fees, I'm assuming that's water test and sewer test.
water.
Do y'all ever price that around to see different labs, how much they cost?
I don't believe so. I don't think there's a whole lot of labs. that
Y'all
we
use
can
these
check
specs?
that. Let's check that on.
We were using two different companies, last year, and then we ended up going with just one company and consolidating all the lab tests with them, because they were able to do this better way versus splitting.
Is it East Texas?
Are y'all self-sustaining, this particular budget? You make your own money and you spend it, so the money doesn't come from anywhere else. You're self-sustaining, you're,
Actually, they give money to general.
right, yes, the transfers. But there is no money that gets given to you
No.
from any other part.
So we're just doing that like 2 years ago.
Right, right.
6710,
888.
depreciating expense of 1.6 million to 0.
That's an adjusting journal entry that has to be done at the end of the fiscal year.
Okay.
We have to depreciate, yeah, we have to depreciate our assets. It can be, if you buy a vehicle now and it's 50,000, it's not gonna be 50,000 at the end of the 5 years, you have to
Right.
depreciate, so. that's-
Are we not depreciating anything else this year?
No, that's a journal entry that the auditors do for us.
Okay. So y'all are projecting 2.2 million transferred into general fund? And then what is the transfers to other fund, negative 87,000?
Is that 85, that 2 people? or what?
Bottom of the page, debt service, and then, go up.
That's what we got for,
Transfers to other funds.
two skinny cars. And then we actually got some price on,
Yeah.
Okay.
but they're straight trucks, they're work trucks,
Crew cab?
skinny cars.
All right, are we good with Murphy?
I'm good, I'm good.
Thank you, sir, appreciate it.
Thank you, Ricky.
All right, Mr. James. wages and salaries. How many employees total?
So I've got, it's kind of split, so I've got one full-time and then mine 70%.
Say that one more time.
So I have one full-time person and then I'm 73%.
73%. That's an odd number.
Yeah, we discussed this earlier today. The other 27% is for the fiber side.
So how many employees?
One in.
1 and 3/4. 1.7.
So a quarter of that comes from different.
That one person is,
The 6,400, 6,401 went from 5,200 to 7,900.
Yes, there are several of the events that IT has actually never been able to attend. We've added a couple in Tagayon, which is an IT conference, and several others that similar to that we had. There's some trainings involved as well.
Computer hardware, 6314.
So that one is, we're entering into a lease agreement for the refresh and replacement of our, not all, but some of our existing, laptops, desktops. And that's the general cost of that on an annual basis.
How long is that lease?
4-year lease.
How many machines?
I believe it's 36. I can go back and give you the exact. That also includes monitors, docking station, extended support as well.
That's a Dell?
I assume the big jump from 22, 23 to 24 total budget for software was because we consolidated everything.
Exactly.
6454 other professional services. Show an increase on that one.
It is, so let me get to the exact.
6454.
There's some additional warranty that we're adding on some of our aging servers. The AV system here at the community center, that contract expires, which is a 3-year contract, so it's going to be another 3-year extending contract. Some additional professional services from a company that does provide us some services, which is Dayton. And then some of the sign maintenance is also included in that. Sign maintenance primarily being the big one out here at the community center.
So when you talk about the aging servers, do we utilize cloud servers at all?
Not so much, no, not yet. To be honest, I'm pushing back right now, specifically in the area of Tyler or Encode. I don't think they're developed yet enough to handle what we want to get or already use them for. So I haven't pushed it out.
Have you looked at alternative companies that are where you need to be?
Yeah, there's a lot of different companies. Dell does it, HPE does it. Right now, I think that transition, we cannot handle that. We don't have a staff for one to make or manage that kind of transition. I think in the long run, that's something that we will definitely be looking at, but not in the next year or two for sure. We're just not ready for that.
So if we did that, then we wouldn't have the cost for the aging physical server.
That is correct, and I'm in the process of
we need those out of the system as it is, just some of the conversion over from, they're more standalones than they are part of the cluster. So we're moving all of that into the existing cluster that we have. Once that takes place, then we eliminate that hardware altogether. But that's a year plus project.
6402, 22, 23, we were at 109, and then we went to 73, and now we're budgeting 61.
I can't speak to the 22-23 year. I can tell you it was mostly overkill with some of the mobile devices, communication devices. I did come in and did it pretty quick to help with it, removed a lot of that stuff. And now we're finding that I'm having to add some of it back. Plus, I'm replacing the majority of all the devices that we all need. Some of the iPhones, iPads, etc. And that's the reason why it was just a slow. Our student increase, that we're leaving out unnecessary.
And the other leases and rentals, 6458. What does that cover?
Primarily, I believe that's printers, if I'm not mistaken. So that's supposed to be the lease of actual printers or multifunction devices and the actual usage. So the per copy, etc.
Yes.
So, you say the printer lease,
Yes, ma'am.
so it's not part of the 60, that's the 6541 went away and moved here?
I'm assuming it did. I know we did do some transition and changes where we were at these placed or
How long is your lease on your printers?
Unfortunately, the previous group signed a 63-month or a 65-month lease, a very strange lease. Yes. So we're stuck for several.
Kind of cool.
Sorry.
What range?
Sharp. Yeah, the devices are very solid. They're good devices. It's just a very long lease period for that. And I can't explain it.
I can say from personal experience that those companies against each other, you really get the best rate.
Oh, absolutely. The company we do use, they're actually a very good company. We've never had any issues whatsoever. They're very quick to come and take care of it. That says a little bit, but I wouldn't have signed the lease.
On your price for copies, when you color in black and white, you show them what somebody else is offering and they'll get them at you. A little lower, a little lower.
We're paying a pretty high price for like color copies. I think it's either 7.5 or 9.5 hours. Yeah, we are putting in provisions to hopefully eliminate the amount of color copies hopefully
There should be a lockout on it.
there is, but again, I'm still finding a lot of things from the previous group that let a lot of stuff go, and that's definitely one.
Everybody good on that?
Yes.
Fiber services.
Nothing to do about this, is skip it.
So the, salaries, so the
Fourth quarter.
27.
point 27.
There's currently 2 full-time, Stacy Martin, one of them, Tyler Phillips, does the other. And I'm in the quarter. And we are adding one for this other one.
So it'd be 3.27.
Exactly.
posting about, right now. We have 12, that need to be installed, how much do 12?
They're now 13.
And Tyler can keep up.
Well, not that he just can't keep up, remember you got teachers.
Yeah, he's a little guy.
He hasn't got, kids. So we trying to find a way of getting it so we don't lose the 12 that we can sign up.
So, and in that position, it does help to have an extra body, because it is a very physical portion, and it's surprisingly good.
So this 261, that's 3 full-time, that's just 3
That'll
full-time?
be 3, you know, 4 full-time.
Quarter.
This month.
Yeah, because a quarter of my salary is paid for 5.
Yours must be the bulk of that?
4.
6348. Other supplies, there's quite a bit of a jump.
It is, so keep in mind, just to kind of refresh a little bit, we didn't start Dayton back again until October effectively of last year. Prior to that, when budget time came around, there was no, we didn't know what was going to happen with the budget, so it really wasn't fleshed out the way it should have been, or could have been had we known, right? And because Dayton was shut down, literally everything was gone. When we came back in and started running Dayton, the majority of these types of supplies were gone. Paint, flags. And there is, I will say this, also part of that is going to be some additional resident CDE equipment, ONTs, gateways, stuff like that, that we physically put in new subscribers' home.
Okay.
So that honestly is more of the bulk of this than just simple supply.
Okay.
New subscriber equipment.
Right.
This money coming out of the bond, or the general? The bond?
Yes.
All of this, whole,
Yeah, 14 fiber services is all.
So that means we're paying interest on salaries? It's a bond. Borrowed money, right? And there's interest that comes along with that, right?
And until it gets sustained itself, then there's no other way around.
What's the projection of it sustaining itself?
General fund,
Well, yeah, after talking to a couple of companies, they like to we need at least to have 1,000 connections in order for you to take care of yourself.
And how many we got?
Right now we're at 250.
I mean, I think y'all should run a special and give away free first 3 months or whatever it takes to get 1,000 people on.
So,
But
I've got a lot of conversations.
we have raised special, we talked about doing it again, not necessarily free, because we want to be able to spend some money, but we can do more special. Is that the big issue you all to approve those specials?
Yeah, we got over 150 more subscribers than we did a year ago.
We did,
Correct. We've increased by 140%. So keep in mind on the specials, when we wrote the rate of data, we started as a special. So we eliminated installation fees, we eliminated deposits. So that, and we also had a reduction for the first 3 months of your subscription or your service. And then after the 3rd month, then you go back up to the standard price. Keeping in mind, with the number that we've installed, I think for the first 3 months, if I'm not mistaken, up through December, we were still using a contractor to do all the installs. And that truly is where a lot of the bulk of the money as far as installations came from at that time. Since we added a staff member, that again, keep in mind, it's one guy running the plow, pulling cables, splicing fiber and installing equipment inside a residential unit and or business, we've still been able to put in 140 some odd additional customers. Adding a person, then there's no question.
That we need, because we lost it, because it was in one or two.
We've lost, one or two of them because we couldn't hit them fast enough. Now, also, part of it, like projections, Aaron had asked about projections. It's a very difficult thing to try to project some of this stuff because you just don't know. However, we're looking at some of the upcoming developments and the number of homes that we actually pass. We're passing about 2,700-ish homes that are actually eligible to get the service.
We have a meeting scheduled to do fiber and try to pinpoint a cost for them to run it throughout their subdivision and the types of things that we need, the sizes that we need for the fiber. So we have a meeting scheduled with them. One of the things about that, now you look about development code, we have it specified in there, is that all new development must run the fiber and the conduit for them. So as new development come in, that's one of the things that we're making sure that they do. So it's going to help us reach our number faster.
Well, let's bring it up even higher for these other ones. Just asking them to put a little bit into it and say, hey, offer the home buyer 3 months, something.
So you're going
get them on, and then we can try to keep them on.
So you're going down the right path. So I've had those conversations, what we're looking at to do, and we can't tell a home builder that they absolutely have to do that. Right? But we can certainly encourage them to do that. Part of that encouragement is as the homes are being built, it's just pre-ready to buy it as we have a shell. So that as the new person buys a home, it's a very simple process.
More likely to connect than to.
We literally just turn the light on and it's done. As opposed to right now, we still have to wait 3 days for the location. We have to do that by law. After the third day, it takes us roughly a day and a half, 2 days during the install process to pull fiber from the flat. Then we've got to slice it. So it's about roughly a 5 visiting process. So doing what you're talking about, that eliminates that time.
We got a couple telling us that, it's just one of the things that we've been doing with them. We already have, on the main corridor, the fiber today down there, and we had an issue, with a contractor, called us that have to go back out, and replace some items, because they went to the road, and it was there on, yeah.
And they didn't pay for that?
For which one?
Oh, because when they had the contract.
No, well, there's two different things. So there was a recent project where the actual contractor did pick up the cost to relocate some of our fibers. So it did cover that. And I think that's what it's in about 26, right? Now, on road as well, during some initial widening of the road, they did cover up some of the handholds that we had to physically relocate this. We took on that cost. The contractor would not do that. But as far as the subscription accounts, because we do pass by 2,800 homes, the idea is that's the target that we want to get. We're already there. We're right in front of you. There is no additional construction costs and things like that. So the estimate, and I did send out a report, hopefully you guys got a chance to read it, but the estimate was for this coming year to be at the 750 count. And it just goes exponentially from there. As these additional developments come in, then we'll be required to work more. And I'm not saying we'll get every single one, but we're looking at a 40 to 50% take rate at that point.
What is the amount of people on the fiber that we have now can be on? Unlimited?
Every home.
Unlimited? I mean, because fiber optic cable is only so small or so big.
It doesn't, yeah.
It doesn't,
Right now, the way the system is set up, we have enough to do 10,000. Easy all day.
good.
James, so we gave y'all 12,000 last year, right? And I understand, I heard everything you just said, but you guys are only projecting to use 7,000 of that? 23, 24 was 12, and then right now, current, to date, year to date, you've utilized 4671 of that. And then, but the projection is to use 7,000, and I think that 12,000 was supposed to be for like spending 1,000 a month on advertising.
It was, and that is a good question. So a lot of it, so up front, and keeping in mind we had 0 advertising pieces, correct? So one of the things that we did is we went out and we purchased, different handout, things like that. But we're also doing Google Analytics and Google Ads and stuff like that. We haven't started doing like Facebook. And I'll be very upfront, the challenge is the more we advertise, and this is going to sound absolutely absurd, the more people we get, the further behind we get with what we have. So we're trying to manage the number of requests that we get so that we can ensure that we can deliver what we're requesting.
Okay. So,
And it's a very fine line that we're trying to walk, especially on advertising.
We have full other work that time to help.
yeah, so I'm just trying to, I track what you're saying. So basically, you kind of purposely not really just put a whole lot into advertising because you don't have the manpower to handle, the influx in numbers.
Yes, sir.
Because more people, you're gonna need more bodies.
To an extent, and also keeping in mind the media that we have to do the advertisement. Truthfully, it's fairly limited. No longer do we have a radio station. That was a great one. Facebook is actually our primary, but that's the best reach that we have today.
And that's a free service, as of right now.
It is currently. Now, we can do paid advertisements.
Yeah.
Blue Bonnet is another one that.
Which one?
Blue Bonnet.
Oh, yeah.
There are haters that,
And, we do, Tyler, bless his heart, he walks around and has no issues hanging out, handing out door. So we're doing some very soft type advertising, and we just haven't made it to that level.
So what are we looking at cost-wise if we were to just go nuts on advertising between now and the end of the year? And we started getting requests, what are we looking at if we have to bring in a temporary employee, like somebody from Robert Half or someone,
Yeah, so.
a contracted employee?
Right. So someone for that, honestly, wouldn't necessarily be on the Robert Half end. Because
Right.
you're not going to put somebody from Robert Half on a flat.
Right.
Not typically anyway. We're looking more for the field-based technician, a guy that can run equipment, a guy that can pull fiber, things like that.
Surely there's contractors out there that can do that.
Well, and Kimberly and I were just having this conversation. With the fiber industry, as flooded as it is right now, as the amount of money that the government is throwing at it, it's difficult to find anybody to come on board, whether it be contract or otherwise. And the reason why is the work is readily available. So the workforce for us to pull through is very thin. And I'm not saying that we wouldn't or couldn't do that. We've talked about doing that. But I don't know how that's going to impact as far as cost, because we haven't gone down that road yet.
How about training your own?
Well, that's a good question. I don't have.
But you got somebody over there in your team want to get out of there digging a hole and doing something.
But then it's
Well, you just have to find some more wood money.
see, remember, we don't
So, and that's an outstanding observation, but keep in mind, you put out 50% down.
I totally get it,
but he
but
said it's easier for him to find someone versus.
absolutely. And, oh, by the way, newsflash, we got to think about opportunities for employees in the city. to move into different, because they got different interests. And how do we meet that?
No, I'm not against it, don't think that.
So,
I'm against
I
it.
mean,
No.
that's a very strong possibility. I'm not trying to take away from, off the table.
Yeah.
Murphy might want to change jobs.
The reason for me mentioning like Robert Half, Bob Bull, was to bring in someone that could backfill the help desk side, while your guys that are in the office could go out and do the equipment. I thought you had two guys on game.
She is one.
Oh, okay, I thought you had three. Okay, I'm sorry. You wanna run it back though?
Well, I mean, just to understand her role,
Yeah.
as a business analyst, she's doing beyond that. She actually built every call. She's her sales, upfront sales. She's her first line support.
No, I get it. I thought you had three and two guys, one was doing help.
No, I'd love to have that.
She's wearing many hats.
She's got many hats.
Okay, that explains it, because I was like, are you planning on using the additional 12,000 next year if you hadn't gone through that? But I get it. It's clear.
Okay, I have a question on 6409, the software, the huge increase.
Yeah, I knew you would see that one.
Yeah.
You didn't see that one, I'm gonna
From
talk about it.
60,000 to 225,000.
Yes, so in inception, when the software was purchased, it was purchased 3 years at a time. We just ended 3 years, surprisingly. Now we've got the next 3 years of licensing that was purchased.
So this is a single purchase that's
It's
amortized
not,
over 3 years.
it's not single, it's spread between different software, different licenses.
Right, but what I'm saying is you're only making this $200,000 purchase once
This
every
year.
3 years.
That's not 100% correct. Let me get to my software.
Looks like it's 225 one time and then 50, and then a 225 and 50.
Yes, so I mean, just to give you an idea, one portion of the software that we use, in Calyx is the software that's the CPE equipment that we put in, resident, and what we have in the racks in our hub.
And then, we're staying with that?
We are. That's one.
Is that right?
Oh.
Did we talk about 6348? I got a bunch of notes here. The other supplies where
Yes,
Joe from.
new subscriber equipment.
Okay, guys. Just want to get my notes right.
So to answer the question is it's a 3-year contract, but it's billed each year individually or annually for 3 years. And for the Calyx, as just a simple example, I have 3 different software specific to them that have 9,600 each year 3 times.
Isn't Calyx one of the most expensive out there?
I can't contest that. They are. They're also one of the top tier. We have very low problems with the software hardware. And again, that's what we need with the number of staff that can actually go out and take care of
So I guess I'm a little confused.
it. Cisco licensing alone, $70,000.
Yeah. So
Which we didn't have
what you're
that.
saying, every 3 years you have a whole slew of stuff you
Yes,
have to
sir.
purchase.
That's correct.
But you said that they're also billing you yearly?
Yeah, so to give you an example, and I'll go back to Calyx, I have a 3-year contract at $96.60 per year. That's 3 times. I have 3 different pieces of software.
But you're paying for all 3 years at one time?
No, sir. 1 year at a time. So
Okay.
$96.60 a year for one piece of software, $96.60 a year for another piece of software, and so forth, for 3 years. Right, so that's $27,000 just there.
Yeah.
This year we've got licenses for Cisco for $70,000. That's going to be one time. We won't repeat that for another 4 or 5 years. What is it, 3 years? All right. Yeah.
So I guess my question,
Go ahead, man.
one second.
Go ahead.
Of the 225,000, how much of that's gonna come back in 25, 26?
160. Oh, I got it backwards. So, about 63 grand.
So then the next, it would be,
Well,
so you had,
should-
yeah, like,
should
so
be
every 3
considerable.
years, yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I'm asking, okay. Okay, sorry, go ahead, Eric.
Are we fighting a losing battle? Because we're competing against the AT&Ts, Verizons, or whoever else out there that
Yeah,
does fight.
I love
We've
that
had this
question.
discussion.
Look,
I switched
I love that question.
Switch to,
today and
The reason that's a good question is you wouldn't believe the number of people just from this past hurricane that's called up that said, I'm done.
I'm done with
Xfinity.
whoever else out there.
AT&T. And also, look at this, the value that we provide, all we charge for is the service. We don't charge tax, we don't charge rental, we don't put you in a contract, and our rates are much less.
I can't.
Yeah, but it's not paying for itself.
So,
It's
what's
a
your
struggle.
Well, and again, and I want to address Harry's statement of it's struggling. It was only up and running for about 6 months, right? And then it was shut down for over a year. And then we revised it, and it's only been up again for another 9 months. Now, I think the take rate that we get now, I would say anybody that calls in, we have about a 75 to 80% pay. That is huge.
75 to 80% what?
Take rate, meaning that they
Yeah.
go with the service. And the others that do not, typically it's because they're in a contract with Xfinity or they're in a contract with AT&T. But, so we're waiting for those to start falling off.
So,
So are we behind the power or the curve? Absolutely. But as we continue to progress, that curve is going to get smaller and smaller.
So I think that this question came up last year, and I kind of want to see what the answer is, if it stayed the same this year. As we are trying, now I understand with the new subdivisions and things like that, how it's going to be installed, but as we are, I guess, initially phase 1 and phase 2 seem to be very different from what they are now. So can you kind of explain what phase 1 is now and what phase 2 is and what the plan is to move into phase 2?
Phase 2, realistically, phase 2 is more geared towards developers that are outside our current range. That's what phase 2 is. Phase 2 is not what it was whenever Magellan initially.
Right, because it was like way out to Kennefic.
Oh, it was to me,
Yeah.
and that would have been fantastic.
Yeah.
But that is not phase 2. Phase 2 now is addressing those that are outside of our current range that we do support.
So as we start to address those, in order to help shave cost, are we still planning on doing the underground install or are we doing overhead?
We're going to do underground as long as we can. Case in point, look what happened a week ago.
No, I mean, I get it, but the cost difference between.
So there's a trade-off, and you would think that the cost is that vast, but it's really not. You still have, think of it this way, you still have trucks, you still have equipment, you still have to lease poles. We don't have poles that we own, so we don't have to lease anything that we hang on. So there's that cost. Then you have the cost of a limb crashing through and taking out fiber. And it happens. There's squirrels, good Lord. We paid $15 grand to have fiber replaced with City Hall because squirrels chew through the fiber. That's going to happen. That doesn't happen as often as it.
So are we in a better position now as we are trying to extend the ring? Are we in a better position now of knowing where, like, our force mains are, where our sewer mains are, where, you know, the gas lines are? Are we going to still continue to pop those and have issues?
So to be fair, we actually haven't hit anything since the construction. So keep in mind the construction Obviously, we hit stuff and occasionally we knew right away. But in, for example, your case, you didn't know,
Yeah.
right? We didn't
No,
know
I'm
until
talking
2
about like
years
more
later.
along the lines of where these mains are on the roads
Sure.
and things like that.
So I think anytime that we're doing any kind of new construction that going forward, then we'll certainly have the upper hand of knowing where that is. I think with the direction that we have in Public Works, and what we have in our staff, we're more capable of finding that stuff.
Well, you have to keep in mind on this too, it depends on how good they do the locate. For things we don't have control over, like for instance, gas, it really does depend on that company knowing where things are located and actually go out and do the 811 when they get it and locate it. I think that's where the biggest problem come in, not knowing exactly where things are located.
Right. And that was my question.
Yeah, and so it's still a possibility, to hit things. We could hit gas, quite often lately.
Because it was like during the construction, man, it was like almost every week you were seeing issues in the city and it was water drops
Yeah.
and.
Yes, so those were contractors, of course, that was doing that. That wasn't the city of Dayton specifically, but
Everybody was watching them.
yeah, I think, and I certainly do not want to go backwards and say they should have done this, they could have done this, why did they do that? Because we could be here all day and I'm not being able to talk on it. But those are the things that were out of our control. I think going forward, at least from our perspective, and just to give you an idea, on a locate basis, it's required to do a locate for any kind of digging that you do. We probably get over 100 tickets a week, literally a week, of what's going on in the community in the city. And I would guess, and Stacy is more on the pulse of this, but I would say probably 50% of those are legitimate for, at least for data. Now, unfortunately, for Public Works, I think that number is higher. But we're still, every day seeing a flood of tickets coming in, and that takes time as well. We did purchase some new locate equipment, which has helped us, so we don't have to rely on some older stuff that really didn't work that well. But I think going forward, you'll see less and less, at least from us. Now, I can't speak for a contractor, anything outside of us. But I think for us, that will start going away, or at least be highly reduced.
So one last question, and it's
I'm holding you to it.
probably not in this budget.
I know you did. I know you did.
But the cost to move the fiber for UP. So where are we? For the overhead. Where are we at on that? And is that something that's coming out of general fund this year, or where is
We
that?
have to take it where we can find it. To be honest with you, we don't know the cost yet. I do know they went out for permit when we talked to them with you yesterday. They were still waiting to get back on the permit. But we're gonna have to find the money. We're probably gonna take this out of the CFP. But we don't know yet.
Do we have a ballpark?
We don't.
15,000, 20,000?
I got to know where I can put it.
4,000?
Crazy.
5,000?
No, probably more, probably looking at about 100.
I would say that's.
And that's one of the main fiber lines on that side.
That's what I meant.
So the importance of that line is Gulf Inlet.
Okay.
That's when we competed with Gulf Inlet.
And I'm assuming that contractor put that one in for us.
The original.
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
But it's really, they didn't know that it overpassed the year. And, because I would think, you would have said, okay, let's go ahead and buy some right away. You would have had to purchase some right away.
Yeah.
Install it.
Okay.
Yeah, that project impacts AT&T and everybody else that runs down there as well.
Right.
Okay. Speaking of contractors, 6411 contracted services. I showed an increase from 102,000 to 138,000 for next year.
102 from, yes.
And what contracted services are we using to cost that?
So that's our circuit, our two circuits, our primary and secondary circuit. It's also,
Is that Capcom and Mont Bellevue? Is that what those are?
yeah.
I read the report.
Now I did, for this year, I did increase our bandwidth for both our primary and secondary. The cost wasn't that much for each one, so it didn't make sense not to increase the bandwidth.
Have we looked at Cogent price-wise on the primary?
Yes, I'm using them back. I'm gonna remove our secondary and use Cogent as our secondary.
Okay.
Starting in February.
Okay.
And we have it set up now, all that stuff switches over without having a problem?
So, this was the primary problem that we had for about 22 hours during the hurricane. And I have worked with that, and I don't know, Josh probably gets this and Mark gets it, but. So part of our problem was both of our providers were advertising our settlement. So whenever we lost our primary, everything was stuck. And when we did fell over, trying just wasn't getting past our secondary. And that's because they didn't know where to go. So our primary just yesterday released that hole in our settlement. I haven't had a chance to test it.
Stay on top of it, I mean, that's a major thing.
Oh, absolutely. Trust me. I get it.
I'm gonna jump on the second page here, 6603,
Yeah, we are fighting that, we don't know exactly what.
550,000?
But we are fighting. Government. That's good, that's hiring, that's a hiring contractor for.
That's a run out,
Yeah.
the fiber out to there?
And
So
is
how
that
many
coming
do you have
back in
to get
revenue,
that?
Leslie? Is that coming back in revenue from them paying to do that?
This is what to get to them, not the internal. They
So-
got to do the internal, but from where we stop, we got to get.
So we're getting from the city hall to them.
So
Is what the
essentially, so there's actually more than DR Horton in it. So that includes every apartment complex that we have in the city, every housing complex that we have in the city. We go past them, we just don't penetrate into them. So that's part of what would be leveraged to use to get into, those groups. And we're looking at just the apartments alone, we're looking at around 300 to 350 people waiting to get our service.
So as we're running down 1960, are we looking to pick up businesses and things like that 1,000 feet off of each side of the road?
So the intent, we're not just doing a direct shot to DR Horton and not spiring the finger off of. The intent is we'll have a fat enough pipe or enough fiber that in the event that somebody on the north side of 1960, which the expectation is that there will be several, that we can peel off and provide service to those groups as well.
Right, and that's what I was asking. That's what I was asking. Okay.
Absolutely. And realistically, the intent is to go past DR Horton and that.
Which is pretty far away.
That four corner was that.
Bigger than that.
All righty. Anybody have any more questions?